We're back. Yes, it's the Crypto Sniper coming at you. How are you guys doing? Yes, dressed up like a cappuccino with your favorite cinnamon stripe right through. Look into my eyes, fantasize. We got that. Infa Orange, Agent Orange, the Christian Lagarde mix of burnt orange specs so that we can see into the darkness and bring what we see to you so that you may prosper in this crazy crypto. Is it crypto world? What's Bitcoin doing? And I've got a key theme and actually a bit of a structure and a framework. I don't normally do frameworks. I'm Mr. Freestyle himself in terms of a thread I want to discuss with you in terms of what's going on in the crypto world. People are battling, people are struggling. What's happening? Is it up? Is it a bull? Is it not? What's going on? We get too sucked into the smaller time frame, looking through the microscope, not seeing the forest for the trees. You'll hear that phrase again coming soon. So what the crypto bubble, in the bubble, I mean, not crypto is an asset bubble. What the people in the bubble in crypto tend to not understand, that someone with a 360-degree macro, global, or should I say worldwide macro, we want to keep the Flat Earth Society members on our team, worldwide macro view, do get. What's the key difference about where you perch, which perch you're sitting on when you're watching these two huge planets collide? And yes, there's a slow motion collision going on right now. There is a collapsing old world banking, financial, social system that is absolutely massive. Quadrillions and quadrillions, but it's also crumbling in on of itself. It's big, but it's riddled. The worms have eaten it. It's fraught and rotten, and it's hurtling along. And you've got this new, tougher, harder, shelled, smaller entity for now, that's now just through a couple of trillion, that is expanding ever bigger, and they are hurtling towards each other. And as you take your perch in the stratosphere watching this absolutely magnificent, great collapsing reset transition into this fantastical new world order system, you should actually watch both planets because there's a full story. The moon, you want to see the dark side of the moon as well. And in this planetary scenario, you want to sit back and aside. You do not just want to be crypto exclusive. And that is the value of someone who is an FX trader and an equity trader long before the crypto markets existed, is that we recognize the old world a little bit, and we're learning about the new world a little bit. And we haven't lost our sense of the larger forest just for a couple of trees. So here's number one, what you need to do during times like this. Why? And what times am I referring to? Well, let's go and show you a dollar index chart, which is not a crypto chart for a crypto channel. And here's why you need to understand that this is important. And this is part and parcel of knowing the woods for the trees. So I'm going to say goodbye to Bitcoin. We're going to revert to the charts. I'm going to go up and down because FX is miles away from where my crypto is, but it's still in the same list. So clicking onto that larger chart, let's actually go with that fella and take the eye off, and we're going to show you the monthly. So this is a monthly of something you're not used to looking at, and you think, why on earth do I need to care what's happening in the FX world? And here's why. The reason things are going a little slower for you on your beloved Bitcoin is that previously on our first cup gold nugget, you remember the 2.5 year shaped like this with the little spiller for your second low. There was the health event of March 2020. You actually had a key and unique set of circumstances that gave the BTC stroke the other half USD chart the ideal set of circumstances for that first cup gold nugget move through to target, which actually saw 11 candles in a row all virtually be green. And any of the minor ones that were borderline were tiny, very small pullbacks all the way to target. And I warned you then in July of last year that this is going to be the best part of the ride, and after target it will get more choppy. That was your magic carpet ride. Bad news, you've already had it. But good news, it's still a general macro bull market that is going on. Now, when you set up that 2.5 year, you face dollar strong and dollar weak, and it often coincided with some of the extremities of the bumps high and the dumps low. The low into the pandemic low of RL2 coincided with a very strong dollar. First, we spiked out the top on the dollar index. You can even see it on this monthly chart, and we'll show it to you when we drop down. This is DXY we're looking at, and it's a mega chart. It is a monthly, so it's a huge time frame that takes you back many years. So hopefully you can all see. This goes right back to 1984. Now, you might say, but the euro didn't exist. But the basket of currencies for that euro existed. And that's how the dollar index existed against weighted individual currencies. So you would have had the French franc and all of the German Deutschmark, etc., all in there. What you might notice, if we grab the pen, grabbing the pen, the arrow, the quill, the pen is mightier than the sword. Boy, don't we need some swords in times like these? I would say so. Where's your sword? Maybe an AR-15 is better. I don't know. So big falling wedge. This was the dollarization and the financialization, everything of the world, where risk was king. So everyone went to the emerging markets and invested in emerging markets. They went out and out and out, and you had many pumps and dumps, but overall, your dollar was making marginally lower lows and making significantly lower highs. Compression. Then we had the amazing events of 2014, where we also had an oil collapse during that period. Note, oil collapse, July 2014, macro dollar bull. There's the steepest out of your first HVF in a new trend, which was the third impulse of your falling wedge multi-decade. And remember, we did falling wedge analysis when we called oil to single digit. That is all part of the Market Sniper channel. We're talking crypto, even though we're not talking crypto. Did you understand what I just did there? We're talking crypto, even though we're not talking crypto, because I need you to understand that for Bitcoin to be strong, it actually also needs to be strong against a currency, the God market of fiat currency, not any currency. The God market of fiat currency is, in fact, your dollar. And when there is fear around, people run into dollar. Pandemic, first they ran into dollar. Then they made the payments for 7 trillion. They flooded the world, not just America, with dollars. And they provided liquidity. And we had the down leg of the pandemic. Here was that schizo moment where it first got super strong and everybody panicked in that little rickshaw boy of a wick. Now you might not be able to see it. I will show you when we drop lower, but you can see a big run up and then a jumped on, a big spike down, and then we started the down move, and you had the dollar weakness, and that period was your first cup gold nugget break, 9,000 all the way through 26,000. That was plain sailing. Why? You had a tailwind pushing you all the way. A loss of power in the God market of fiats. Bitcoin, gold, silver, oil are all anti-fiats. They go up when that key God market of fiat goes down. So what's happening now? Well, you've got a problem because you've got Bitcoin that wants to go a little bit higher but is heavy and has regular setbacks. Well, you're facing right now the change in power of the dollar. And that's why you're still in a macro bull, but it's going to have regular, longer sell-offs, more big than you expect, flush you out, shorter, marginally higher high bull markets, and a lot more churn. So it's still a bull market, but after the key moments when you should have been early and exploiting Bitcoin, and we'll go back to that when we go to the Bitcoin chart, when those moments were, you will have pushback. And it's a much more difficult trading market. So point number one in my list of to-dos, you should have a pen. You should be writing. There is wisdom being dropped, he said, even though it sounds somewhat arrogant. There's true wisdom being dropped. If you wrote this down, this would help you. Grab a pen, write it down. Take notes. It's important. Here's a list of things you should not be doing right now for your crypto trading because of this otherworldly thing. You see, as much as I got blocked by Plan B, because I mentioned an altcoin in a tweet that I copied him in on after we'd both been on Real Vision, and he's a maxi. People that live purely in the crypto bubble and model purely the crypto do not see what's happening outside of the crypto bubble that also has relevance. And strength to the God market of fiats is not supportive to the anti-fiats. I traded gold and silver long. I went into some profit. I watched it all got washed out. I snatched a little bit at a very low level and I took a loss on the other entry. Shameful round trip like that. Why did that happen? Well, gold and silver are typically frustrating markets until eventually they come right. You've got to take your profits quicker. And I didn't have targets in, which is why we trade with targets. But because of the dollar stamping its dominance. So what's this overall scenario cost we're giving you? The channel is up out of the falling wedge. The channel is up out of the falling wedge. We broke the wedge at that point. We retested it. All those orange squares that I've highlighted there was a return move. And you are winding up in our view. And we said this a year or two ago, even when this was going down. At some point, this will be a buy around about here. I have the old charts templates where we drew our scenario cost. We didn't expect it to come as fast down as it did, nor quite so far, but we thought it would take a while and it would be a little higher and a bit more to the right. It happened super quick. Now, things that come down super quick when they base out have a habit of snapping back equally quick as well. In other words, the volatility in that time frame has in fact gone up. So this dollar index is now an upward path, and this is our scenario cost. Finish squeezing like a Japanese easy squeezy, and then you will be making good progress to the better part of 113. First stop on an inverted head and shoulder is 99 for the dollar index. Now you're going, I'm learning so much about FX trading, but I don't want to trade FX. Aha, this has bearing, good people. This has bearing on your Bitcoin future. Runaway strength for the dollar does not support anti-fiats. We created these categories. Does anyone else talk about anti-fiats? We created these categories to make it simpler to explain a complex macro system to people that haven't been engaged as long as I've been engaged in the markets. Good for fiat, dollar, God market, simple, he's the God, and it's a much bigger market. Unfortunately, it's a bigger planet still, 2.5 trillion, that's small beer. We're all trillionaires now, in Zimbabwean dollars at least. The FX markets, you're talking about quads. You're talking about hundreds of trillions. And there's not even including the derivative markets. So it absolutely matters. He's the God market of the biggest bully in town. And that is the FX markets, which is transcending even the debt markets, which transcends even the equity markets, which by market cap also transcend completely the crypto markets. So I've just called you a little worm. That's right, crypto trader, you're still a little worm. Okay, so understand that in terms of scale. You need to understand that. So what's happening here, even though you say, what's the big deal? The 96 value on the dollar index going to 99. That's not a move in a crypto market. Who'd care about that? 3 ticks on 96 is barely 3%. You make and lose 4 or 5% a day in a token, often 20. That's small beer. It's big beer. And here's the reason why. It's smaller moves on a much bigger market that has a far higher gearing effect in the higher beta markets, such as, you guessed it, crypto, such as smaller markets like even the equity markets. Have you noticed the stinky stoinks having a little bit of a tougher time right now? The FX markets leans on all of them by virtue of its size if it gets disorderly in a particular sphere. And if there's fear, or if there's a reason that people are running to dollar, Who shits the bed? Well, you can start with the euro and you can start with the anti-fiats. So let's drop down and change view, and hopefully you're staying with me because this has bearing and we will bring it to the Bitcoin charts in a bit. But first, learn, pay attention and write down. You should be doing less crypto trading generally. Point number one, write it down. Less crypto trading generally. Leveraged long trading right now is going to burn you. You're going to destroy value. Many people will say that generally for you because you don't know what you're doing. Some of you that have method, that are smart, might occasionally do pretty damn well, but you're forgetting about your losers. Most people actually will lose value by trading generally. In this environment, even more so, because you're going to be facing dollar strength. Now, bear in mind, I will tell you when that changes, and there is going to be a flippening, and I ain't talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum, although that's probably on too. I'm talking about a much bigger flippening, a trans-market flippening in terms of how the anti-fiats respond on a strong dollar. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be your key reset moment when you have sustained strength in gold, silver, blow-off strength, and Bitcoin and other cryptos on a strong dollar. We are not there yet. There are dominoes that need to fall, and we are plotting the macro course and trajectory of reset right here, right now. Pull up a chair and watch these planets collide and see how it happens. So here's our overall HVF upside continuation, which is now the second. It's not the first, but we expect overperformance. It's a second. And there was your left shoulder W head, right shoulder concoction, and that is bringing you up to the 99 level. In and around our skittish behavior. Can you see the pandemic, let's call it, the health event over there? That was a major move up for the dollar initially, then a slam down, then a bounce, and then and then die. And that was our dollar short. This was your first cup gold nugget period on Bitcoin. Tailwind, pushing from behind, helping you up the ladder. That was it. What's it doing now? Exactly the opposite. So actually, it doesn't help. So some of you will say, well, why isn't BTC Euro still going up in a much easier way? Because not only is the dollar strong, because the euro has been weak, for those of you that don't understand, not only is the dollar the primary currency in the category of financial tools, Forex, if that category is getting boosted and everybody is running into the God market, it is bearish for all the others as well. So even though it's hurting the euro because they kind of a seesaw, there's a fulcrum, good for dollar, bad for euro. They're kind of binary, black and white. One goes up, the other goes down because treasuries and institutions move money between them. And if it's a good time to hold dollars, they're dumping their euros because those are the two major currencies. You'll also dump yen. They will also have other currencies, but the main one they manage where they'll move stuff around is the outlook for the debt and the interest rates in ELRND versus taper tantrum going on in America. If they just start talking about having a meeting where they may consider talking about potentially having a meeting where they'll agree to change rates, then that is already more bullish for the interest rate policy of America. Whilst in the Eurozone, Agent Orange, Burnt Orange herself, Christine Engard, did say, we are far more concerned about the recovery. Inflation is not going to be our primary policy. We want to help the people. Actually, she doesn't give a flying fuck for the people. Yes, I just said that. She doesn't give a flying F for those people. She wants to keep proliferating for her billionaire class that own the assets and create that inflation so that they get richer with their asset inflation and they hollow out the bourgeois, the middle classes, and especially the poor, which means imported inflation, crushing the euro, and more downside. Go and see the market sniper for our Euro USD trade. Now, on that point of Euro USD, being global macro, having a little bit of cash that isn't in crypto is actually a good thing. And let me tell you, our Euro USD short pays every day our Bitcoin is going down. So let me explain to you the significance of that. the Euro USD FX short, where we gave FX head and shoulders. So this is almost saying you guys are not worldwide macro, I almost said global macro again, because you're just focused on reset being all about crypto. It's not just about crypto, my friends, your new world. Listen, it ain't a bad place for building your wealth, trading and investing in crypto for the big bang. But there is an even better place, and it's understanding the whole system. And that gives you insights that the people that are totally focused on crypto, doing their models, and models work until they don't work, do not understand. They don't understand the dollar. They don't understand the manner and the order in which the dominoes will fall. Let me tell you, neither do I, but I'm better at guessing than them. And I know a good story when I hear one. And that's why we brought Brent Johnson back on the Market Sniper channel, because he was wrong in timing, but he was right in principle for our worldview. And we met him and we spoke to him round about here and there, and it was all going against him and he was mocked. I said, he's right about how things fail. The dollar, as long as it's measured against other crap fiat currencies, will actually see the reset come on strengthening dollar rather than zero. And everyone you hear, Peter Schiff, every gold miner, every silver miner, wants you to buy gold, telling you dollar's going to zero. To zero against what? Against gold, possibly, near zero, but not against other currencies that have done the same, that don't have the benefit of actually needing to export dollars for other people to buy commodities. And that's how the game's been structured. So what we have is a heading up for 99. And as long as that's happening, you're going to have a spot of bother. That's the target we have for the dollar index first target before we go into this bigger HVF and its targets, which are around about 113. So this is why Bitcoin is having a tougher time of it, because it's not an anti-fiat market. The God market of fiats is actually in a bull market, which is automatically bad for you. So Bitcoin is a macro bull still. People say, oh, so you're bear now. Everyone just thinks in binary terms. You're bear or you're bull. Sometimes you should be neither. Sometimes you're a macro time frame, yes, you're a bull. Shorter time frame, you're concerned. And that's kind of where we are. So there is a slower cycle. If you've seen the charts that we've shown on the cycle extending, how fast and how far you go, we're going to go up slower and for a longer time period. I still think there'll be some form of a blow off, but it won't be as extreme as the first cycle that was fast and brutal and quick. The second cycle, pretty fast and quick. The third, that was 2017, long building, base building, and then final blow off. And now we are behind it in terms of how high and how long, and it will still happen, but many setbacks along the way. So it is still generally a macro bull market. But right now, I think you've got a bit more bearness on Bitcoin to face. So that were a couple of quick fire points that many people don't get as to why Bitcoin might be battling. What else have I got for you? It's a pair trade. I've mentioned that the dollar matters. Now, alts. The funny thing is, while Bitcoin has been feeling heavy, let's transition to Bitcoin now. And we'll leave the big markets for you because you get impatient with it, because you're impatient little crypto kiddies and you get angry when you're not being shown what you want. I know that. And some of you are smart and say, maybe I need to listen to this. Maybe there's something I can take out. Maybe there's something I should learn. So heads up to you. You smash the puppy licks button if you're happy with being called an impatient crypto kitty. But you can also hit the dislike. Say, I dislike that. Hit the dislike. Give us a few shares or smears, as I say. Smear us all over social media. We really appreciate that. Don't forget, you can book a call on the link below at the Market Sniper, at themarketsniper.com. Do not engage with us in any other way. We do not ask anyone ever to send us money. We will not notify you, leave notes in the YouTube comments or anything else like that. So let's look at this technically on Bitcoin. You made a marginally higher high. Macro bull. You made a marginally higher high. I suspect something like that, but not as fast as it's been before. You've made a marginally higher high. Let's draw with TG Pink. Give me the line. And now you've actually got, at a very high time frame, monthly. This month is almost over, good peoples. There's only a handful of shoplifting days left till expensive turkey buying time cause inflation, not because of, you know, climate change, for example. You've made a marginally higher high and you're doing a shooting star. On the weekly time frame, you've got to accept that there could be a possibility. Macro time frame in candlesticks is your friend. This is not a time for rushing in to buy Bitcoin. If you're a maxi and you only buy Bitcoin, it's not the time. It's not the time. You're probably going to eat some more red, potentially. This is potentially going to set up some form of a rising wedge, which is one of the toughest patterns of a bull market to trade. Because every time you make a new high, you feel the most bullish, and every time it happens, it turns around and reverses. And when it's going down, you're always a little bit nervous and you don't know how to trade to the level. So people that trade momentum get killed. In the absence of any method, you are all FOMO in, panic buying as it makes new highs, and panic out when your stops are that weren't there, that should have been there, are about to be run and you're about to be liquidated. So a rising wedge is a very difficult market for you to trade for going up. Hence why rule number 1, trade less. Rule number 2, don't use leverage longs. Rule number 3, have a FX trade, even small. Open a spread bet account, do something small where you actually short, but use limits. Don't chase the market down as well on the Euro USD. It's got more to go until that dollar index hits 99. Then you can close and take whatever profits you make, assuming it does that, if we are right, which I think it will. It'll then have a little bit of a pullback, it will set up and it will run again. In the same way we expect oil and all these things to run again, but they will still have pullbacks while they're talking. Inflation bad, kill the oil. How do they kill the oil? They make the dollar strong. How do they kill the gas prices, the natural gas prices? They make the dollar strong. Bitcoin might be an incidental victim of this, because it's all about the Fed looking so goddamn stupid because they said there's no inflation, we can't create inflation. Then they said there is some inflation, but it's totally transitory. And then they said, well, it's not looking that transitory anymore. You see, you kind of sound stupid, shouldn't you? Especially if this is your game and you're a specialist. So what do? Taper up the rates, draw it up. We're going to do this. Suddenly the dollar gets strength. It's all about fiats. It sucks out of the anti-fiats. They cap the oil price in dollar terms. It hasn't helped the euro oil price that much, although it still will be lower for everyone. Okay, what's happened on the USD Turkish lira, by the way? Something else for you crypto kids. Blow off. That's the first of many. It's not the first even, but it's a substantial nation, let me just say, that is regularly available to trade, that you've had an absolute blow off. Had a community member coming back as happy as Larry after a major celebration on his USD try trades. You could be in that. And guess what? It totally balanced out any red he was eating on his crypto, because crypto's still a bull. It doesn't want to come down too much, but it will. So this is the difficult way. Less trading. Don't rely on stock to flow models or other people's models, including, which we covered in a previous video, using the COT indicator and not understanding what we've done. They will not over help you when you are facing a headwind, but it will generally give you buy signals on our COT indicator, because we are still in the signaling zone. The first signal was the one you take, the others were reiterate. So all these things run into trouble because they don't cover the out of market events. You can't blame whatever your computer or whatever you're playing in your room about when the window smashes shut. It's the externalities. It's the wind. You don't control that. You haven't got a mouse for it. Okay, what else have we got to tell you? There's a flippening event coming, I mentioned, so let's go back to that. How does that work? At one point, and this will be late in the day, and I don't think we're there yet, BTC, crypto, gold, and silver, and including oil, will go up even on a strengthening dollar price. That is the final shoe to drop and is extreme. It comes late and it could lead to blow-offs in all of them as people panic out of every other currency of the world. That is, in my opinion, on balance of probabilities, in my view, how the shoes drop at a macro level. So best key trades will be not to do too much, but they could be on alt versus Bitcoin, because actually the alts wanted to run. And usually when Bitcoin gets soft and heavy, it spills, it drags a lot of the alts down at a higher level as well. In some cases that will be true, but in some cases we are actually getting setups on alt versus BTC that could see big major alts and smaller ones, if you're a stock picker, do better than Bitcoin during this period. So Bitcoin is more like when it was 2 million market cap in 2010 or whatever it was many years ago. Dollar aspect mattered nothing. It was all about who was buying it, how many people were involved. It was a small number, what they were doing with it. Did an exchange just get hacked? It was totally Bitcoin fundamentals that drove it. Now that it's almost an alternate currency, and it's more clear that central bank digital tokens are coming and that it is the new game, it's been sucked into the effects and influences of that old game. Institutions that never cared and thought it was a special tool for buying a better gun for shooting baddies in the gamer world are now accumulating it. Those same institutions are involved in the FX markets. They're involved in family home office. They're buying equities and selling them. They are managing a portfolio, and crypto is a slice of that pizza pie as thin as my cappuccino line right here. And that is why those other concerns affect them. They de-risk if they see dollar strength. So it's a stock pickers market, meaning you really have to have a good reason to choose a particular alt, and you should expect it to have so many fundamental drivers or technical drivers that it will not be overwhelmed by a soft period for Bitcoin with many pullbacks and leg ups. So we are doing relative strength analysis much more across cryptos, and we're looking for those key finds. Also, you might have to mine memes and themes, more specifically themes than memes, such as Sand, Mana, and a number of others that are all AXS around the metaverse. That's been very strong during this period. I was lucky with ELRND and Crow. They were well set up and they've overcome a weak Bitcoin. So what else have we got for you? So we spoke of in a tweet, have a look at Binance BTC. It's big enough, if Bitcoin is not mega weak, on independent fundamentals to still push higher if you traded against Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin went down 10%, you would still expect Binance to go down, for example. But maybe if there's a better story, it will go down much less and you will accumulate BTC. And this was our draw for that one. And you can see broadly the game is Binance is eating into Bitcoin dominance. There are others, by the way. We won't go through all of them, but we're giving you a couple of leads. And we're telling you where to expend your energy. So if I draw with the fat Koki in blue, little boy Pippi blue, let's do freestyle. And a big clumpy second. And up into here, and you've got a nice little squeeze in there that you're leaning out. There's a possibility that this goes higher against Bitcoin. Now, if you trade it against Bitcoin, it doesn't matter if it's a bear market for crypto as long as Binance is outperforming Bitcoin. You might say, oh, I'm not sure about that. Alts dump if Bitcoin goes down. If it's a chronic sell, remember, there's a bit of dollar headwind. It's just not a great running market. It can be an easing, going nowhere fast, frustrating market for Bitcoin maxis. They're expecting up and they're just getting grinded lower. So that's one example of a cross token analysis. You can also use, these are your friends now. You should have much more dominance charts. So that's the dominance chart. You'll be forgiven for thinking it looks very similar to the one I just had. It is, because Bitcoin is the biggest other coin apart from Binance, a lot bigger. But there's also Ethereum and all the other alts in there. It looks very similar. So start looking at your favorite coins' dominance charts and choose good upside continuation patterns. They could give you a couple of select winners. If you traded against Bitcoin, it's not deadly for you if the crypto market is facing one of the strong surges of dollar strength. At 99, when dollar index makes 99, I expect it to have a rest and pullback. The whole market could have a good up move during that period. You could, in that window, go back to trading against a stable coin or a dollar. You could, in that window, doing that. You can set an alert on the dollar index and say, I'm expecting pullbacks, bit of a blow off pullback, churn, dollar slows down for a bit. Hurting the euro too much, Watch our Market Sniper channel with all the FX calls if you're interested. Okay, good. Let's see some of those questions and check if we answered everything we wanted to tell you about the macro. So the key theme here, guys, is our positioning is building and protecting wealth in reset times. Other people build wealth in crypto. There's a difference. The macro view, for which crypto is a massive part and is probably going to be the fastest horse, for which we spend a lot of our time, but not 100% of our time, is very, very useful because we see the forest for the trees. We also see what's going on in the FX markets. We also see the order of how things are breaking up in the old world that will have blowback effects on the new world in terms of blockchain, crypto, and Bitcoin. And this is very powerful. And can I say, if you have a short on the Euro USD, every day you've had a little bit of a pullback on your blue pot, your hodl pot on Bitcoin, you've actually made profit on the Euro. So you're getting extra alpha and you're getting reduced volatility in your overall P&L. Instead of your P&L being that, you're going more up and it's that. Your down days on your Bitcoin are going to be rewarded with FX gains on the Euro USD, which is our favorite hedging tool. And so what's bad for the dollar is good for the euro. What's strong for the dollar is bad for the euro. So it's a great hedging tool. And of course, you could have also been in USD Tri, and you could have had a crypto moon spike for significant gains. And we've discussed Tri on our other channel a great deal. So let's see what comments you guys have for me and check in with you. What do you think of the spectacular Vandolas? Biden will print another 20 trillion. So the game on our Odyssey channel, we have an Odyssey channel, guys. Odyssey.com under the Market Sniper. It has our crypto vids, it has our Market Sniper vids, and most importantly, it has our reset vids. And I said very clearly, so interesting to see somebody talking about Biden printing another 20 trillion. It is absolutely the game for everyone to be faced with inflation. It's the final stage of killing the middle classes and the lower classes and super enriching the wealthy classes. It's a perfectly legal transfer of wealth. It is a tax on those that have no assets and have monthly expenses, rent, food. All your agris are going up. Your supply chain chicanery that they've been pulling, the transport, the costs on that transport, oil is in everything. I call it the Rockefeller tax, like you get Rockefeller medicine as well. You're seeing plenty of that about at the moment. You are facing an absolute squeeze. If you are not positioned in assets, you're going to lose. Everyone who's calling equity shorts, if money is running into the dollar, it's not going into the debt markets anymore, my friends. The safe haven was the debt markets. It will push already overpriced equities higher. It will go, some of it later will go into the cryptos. Some of it's already finding a little bit of the way. But in Turkey right now, the biggest call is for dollars. Then it's for gold. Then it's for Bitcoin. And the amount of money that is going into dollars versus the amount going into Bitcoin is far higher. And remember, that Turkey microcosm is to happen on all the emerging FX over time. It's already been going on the Indian rupee. It's going to come to the South African rand. It's already been happening on the Argentinian peso and the Brazilian real. You are popping with FX trades you're not taking that are counterbalancing the down days on crypto. And that's what we do in our community. Plus, we're even seeing upside potential on equities. Yes, equities have been a little bit hit by the stronger dollar because overall, the higher the dollar goes, the higher worth they are, and foreigners buying, finding them more expensive. So they ease initially until there's a rush into the dollar. And that could cause even higher equities prices. So everyone calling shorts on equities on account of valuation, they're right that they're overvalued generally. But in this fake monetary policy world where you put money in bank accounts and you earn nothing, 0.1%, and they create 25% of the new currency new, in other words, you're getting a 25% haircut, bonds that are going to have a negative yield are not where people are going to put it. Bank accounts are not where the people are going to put it. People have to invest. The day for playing safe is over. You have to take risk to stay alive. Risk assets are the safe bet. Safe assets are the guaranteed fail bet. They're guaranteed loss bet. The whole world is inverted. Hear me now to understand what I'm saying. In the absence of risk, you're going down. You need to take bigger risks in high risk times. That's the fact. Sounds weird? Sounds counterintuitive? It's the way it goes. Okay, what else did gentlemen say? Go get your non-GMO seeds, says Keith Jackson. A bit of prepping going on there. TLT, no, I don't believe in debts. Even the ones that are marked to inflation index, the inflation number that they will be marked to is a lie. Far better off in risk assets that are going up. You should have uranium companies in that Odyssey video on our channel, and you have to pay a couple of LBC tokens, guys. We want people to appreciate, we want people to support and appreciate decentralized platforms. I have to watch what I say on here, and already by swearing and already by mentioning a health-based event, this video will be down-rated and put in less feeds. Odyssey channel, you can get what you want. You're paying here for YouTube. You're only getting shown what you've seen. You can't see content they think you shouldn't see. You're paying in data give up. You're paying in biometric information. You're paying in telling them who you are. They're selling that data. The marketing, if they want you, you're being manipulated mentally on this very channel in terms of what they choose to show you. Odyssey is decentralized, and that's why we're there. In other words, you choose what you see, and there's nobody who isn't allowed to say anything. Okay. So, what else have we got? So the PAA trade we'll have to discuss on Market Sniper. I don't want to get into that. But it's underperformed oil. It's disappointing for now. I haven't looked at it in a while. I closed the uranium trade. We've moved that into a couple of stocks, all detailed into the Market Sniper. It did very, very well for me. Cheap uranium. One key fact for all you crypto guys, for an asset that you should hold outside of crypto. The entire uranium and nuclear power is 11% of all power, and it's going to have to go up. That's a lot of global world power, by the way. So you get coal, you get all sorts of things, gas, heating, the whole shooting match. 11% is substantial, and that's after a major bear market following Fukushima. One oil company is worth all the shares in the uranium sector. One oil company is worth more. That is still, in light of the moves, an undervalued sector. You can have some of those, and those will counterbalance your crypto holdings. It's time to get more worldwide in your thinking, more macro. It's the strongest chair to sit and watch this train smash in. It's safer than being 100% crypto. It'll be less volatile. Crypto, if you have to choose only one, fine, be it. Okay, what else? Arrow is very happy. Great to see you. We did the e-bike. Yeah. Must hold here, or how long total fall? So, back to Bitcoin. The guys want to drop on the lower time frame. So let's have a little look for you. So what I showed you was the big time frame. And I said, look, cross. We didn't get the head and shoulders, which was a good thing. Because if it had rallied, you would have had a final exhaustive little push up that would have really left no buyers, and you could have spilled really hard. So there was a possibility at one point that the head and shoulders might have occurred. Remember when we were discussing that? You never got that right shoulder. That's kind of good, because that would have just pre-exhausted Bitcoin even more and led to a bit more of a hole in the bid stack that you would have collapsed into. That didn't happen. What we are more getting is that there is some tactical buying, and you may get a bit of a rally. And you'll say, he's wrong, Bitcoin's back again. You could have a falling wedge here and you could have 3 impulses. You could go up here and you could be back down. You could go up there and be back down. And then that moment is your best moment for getting back in. The break there, lower down and later on. Because every day you're in the market, you're being charged if you're on leverage. Unless you're buying blue pot only. Every day you're in the market that it's not productive, you have a gross charge with no net income. So you will go down from here to a lower point down there, and you've been in the market from there till there. Cost of time. So the key points where we got this right last time was accumulate, we got aggressively in there. That was the best and fastest money you made with short time, right there. When last did we get that right? There. Again, falling wedge. We did it before the Bitcoin highs. Those are your best moves. It starts to get more foxy and tricky when you get that. Remember, we gave you that high off a final HVF. It gets more foxy and tricky when you get marginally higher highs and rising wedges and such strong sell-offs. It gets more foxy and tricky. Stay out of the foxy, tricky markets. You don't have to be all in all the time. This is what fools do. Snipers are not shooting consistently all day long. They shoot rarely. That falling wedge, the best part of the move into the head and shoulders was over here. There. You can see them all standing. These were the best parts of your moves, guys. Post continuation structures. Be early. Don't wait for confirmation. The biggest lie in technical analysis is waiting for confirmation. It's the biggest lie. There's so much dogma and horse shit there. It's an absolute lie. You wait for what? You're waiting for the next bus because the first bus might have a bomber on it. It's absolutely ridiculous concept. You have a stop and you're out. And if you have to try 3 times for your entry, it's okay because you're making 10 Rs. That's the game. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Those are your Bitcoin trades. Those are your best Bitcoin trades. Jumping in now, we don't know. We don't know. We had a target for head and shoulders and we stuck our neck out with a COT indicator and said that's accumulate. Right now, what do? You shouldn't be rushing to do too much. Overall, that's probably a slightly descending megaphone. You'll learn about that when you do our theory on www.themarketsniper.com. Book a chat, prove that you're not criminally insane and have unrealistic expectations, have sufficient resources to prove that you've been successful in life generally and you own your own outcomes, and you too could be in the community on that link now being shared in the chat. But that is a descending megaphone overall on a poll. So I think at some point we will go up again. We will go up, but we don't know for sure. We don't know for sure, and it's not perfectly clear that you couldn't go up just to there and do that wedge thing that I drew. There's a couple of scenarios. And we don't like lots of options. We want to corner it, that there's only really one option or 2 options in the game. And then we want to say, come and get me. Come and get me. I'll throw my $100 at it and I'll take a leverage trade. Okay. I think that's it. Let me check if there's any further questions from you guys. And we'll see what else we have for you. If you want to see the full thread, by the way, that we did, go follow the Crypto Sniper. I'll retweet it out, which has real charts and images that you can have a look at regarding why you should be more global macro than just 100% crypto. We are still very committed to the crypto market. It doesn't mean we're sleeping and not watching what's going on. It's just important to take your foot off the gas at key moments where it's not going to give you what you want and it's lower probability. Let's see those comments there. The only one that understands the markets. Love the videos. Thanks, Denver. Appreciate it. Very kind. I think there's plenty of people that understand the markets. They don't all have free YouTube channels, though, and give it away. Both Bitcoin and total market cap have a head and... let's look at the totals. I didn't do that with you. So that's total 3, total 1. Yes, he's kind of right. Who was that? We should respect who the gentleman was. Jose P. How are you, Jose? Thank you for your comment. We do like to look at them, and we often look at them afterwards as well. He's not far wrong. There is a head and shoulder structure. Not every possible head and shoulder structure turns into a head and shoulder. But let me tell you, if dollar just keeps accelerating, key thing about Forex markets, when they decide they're making a move, they tend to trend and they carry on. Continuation is your game. If you catch a major move in Forex, remember, 75% will be churn and chop. But once something's wrong and people have to reposition, there's a lot of money. A lot of Germans right now, they need to move euros into Swiss francs and dollars. There's a lot of French millionaires, billionaires, corporate treasuries. There's a lot of Spanish. There's a lot of Italians. There's a lot of Ferraris in the world. There's even more billionaires and millionaires when you add them up. That's a lot of money that needs to go. So what Jose is saying is not so groovy with this. Hard momentum down. And now something here. And a bit of a grind line there. He could be right. He could be absolutely right. You could be. And that would hurt the alts. That would hurt the alts. It'll be big and it'll hurt the alts. And if you do a target down there, you can have a nice little rest. And that will be more dollar strength. I'll be driven by dollar strength, fear and loathing, bit of winter cheer along with your expensive turkey, cause climate change. Let's have a look at total 2 without Bitcoin. Very similar. I can almost leave the draw on there. Very similar. Good point, Jose. Give the man a hand. I haven't looked at the total charts today, but he's absolutely right. There is a threat. Remember, it doesn't mean it has to happen. But what should you do? You should send a stop order. But as I also clarify, not every possible head and shoulder turns into one. It doesn't mean it has to happen. If you invalidate that high, you're probably coming out of the woods, especially by the time you make higher than that one. It's not a golden rule, but the odds are dropping. You want to take out that high for it not to be, but you can still have a higher right shoulder. If it absolutely gets smacked after taking out that high and has a horrible red candle coming all the way back down to that neckline, still very much on. And as I said, even though the euro's been weak, which was in a head and shoulder itself, by the way, for those of you, if we have the BTC Euro chart on, it's finally put it up. If you have a look at the BTC Euro, you also have, I was aware of that one being a head and shoulders. I haven't even changed the draw and it's virtually slipped right on. Anti-fiats get into trouble when the God fiat is moving. And the God fiat is moving, guys. And that you could have found out 3 weeks ago on the Market Sniper, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. Euro Swiss franc call was even before that. Because what's happening is the Swiss franc isn't allowing it to go too much lower for a while and building a damn wall. Guess what? The SMB gobbling up shit euros, eventually they're going to have to let go and walk. They've been in this position twice before. Not once, twice before. So yeah, you'll see it all in there. What else? Read the full question. Both Bitcoin and total market have a head and shoulder. They're breaking down, Total market cap 2 trillion. Hence, as I see it, market must hold here, or how low could total fall to maintain this bullish structure? To make the head and shoulder target potentially. Generally, I'm not seeing massive overshoots to the downside, but there's possible. And also, because of bonuses and institutions, there might be some profit taking on Bitcoin positions going into later December. And everybody programmed to think the crypto market has to go into a bear market in December. So it could be, there could be a bit of churn and problems. And most of it is because of the dollar now ascending a lot more. It could come to try steal some of your turkey for Christmas, actually, the dollar. A double top on the monthly, not really looking, not on this chart, I'm not sure. So ELRND's done, so let's cover some of the things that have done well. The Hexicans, people always ask for Hex. Got a long way back to go. Technically, is it interesting? Getting a bit of support and slowing down here, but needs to show the spike wasn't a once-off. It's given a lot of it back. Could be bottoming. Crow was my shooting star, and it did have structure on it, both on the BTC. This was a case of lucky because I was doing cross Bitcoin analysis. Let me put the eye back on there. You can see we were watching this guy and we took him. My main interest was because I wanted the 8% cashback card. And then I started looking at the token. So I didn't want to over push it, but I think that's been an amazingly lucky call. I didn't get in down here though at 340. I'd love to tell you that. I started getting involved with it on the dollar side when it was around 20 to 25. I added a couple of times and it's at almost $1 now. So that was round about here on this one. So that's been a runner. That's an example of stock picking. But if you're in alts, you're going to lose more. If you try to be too much of a picker, you're going to lose more on the ones you get wrong, because you'll have 5 or 6 of them wrong. And you'll get, even if you get one winner, that cross subsidization won't even be enough. So it's much better to trade less unless you have a real strong motive, for getting in. ELRND was very lucky for me. It was a dominant one in one of my accounts. I use Finex for that one. By the way, we have a link below for all our exchanges. Anything on the links below, I personally use and don't find a ball ache. You will not see Binance there. I can't work it out. I can't do it. It's an awful platform. I used Finex for ELRND because Spot was not available on FTX. So FTX is the dominant one. If you don't have an FTX, I suggest opening one. I think it's one of the best platforms. It's below, but you know, it's your decision. No one has to do anything. We're in the land of the free, and I'm not one of those dictators. So the link is below for FTX. But if you wanted ELRND Spot, which I wanted, because I wanted blue pot, not just a perp, I use Finex, and we have a Finex link as well, which may or may not be in there, but we'll drop it if it isn't. And I like both those platforms. Pure Gold for buying your gold, silver, and platinum. I use it. Everything that's in the links below, I use. Otherwise, I don't touch. If I can't use it, I don't recommend it. I'm not interested in anything. And the affiliates is small. It's a very minor part of our business. A couple of bob. And I think you'll get $25 if you open one. This ELRND does look like it might have shooting started a little bit there at 457. But I think actually it'll still be a long-term hold. And you can see the overperformance that it had to Bitcoin here. So it's been a great one. We've also looked at it versus Binance because we think Binance has been quite strong. It's had a good run. Metaverse has been very strong. Sand, Mana, I've already said. So So we still think Solana will come, but it's not yet ready. So I think we need maybe that slowdown on the Dixie. So Rami was asking. Nice to see you in the comments, Rami. Welcome, and always good. Lots of community members showing up. So Sol, let me just bring it up. We do like as a long-termer, Sol, I do. But it has made it, Sol, you've got to remember, made a very big target. So it always rests. This was the key call we gave you. It was the only one that never spoiled here. It held its line. When all the others were falling wedges, it was an HVF. That's the power of HVF, even over its cousin, the falling wedge, which are both good upside continuation. But when you get relative strength like that, that's a key example of understanding relative strength, technical analysis. That was your gift, guys. And that's a log scale chart. You know, you're in from 29 and it takes 170. It actually did 212 there. That was your moon shoot. I mean, it just was amazing. It just was and is amazing. That was your moon shoot. So Sol, at the moment, the question was, how about it looking now, or if we got a little bit of dollar strength? I don't like this particularly. I think it could bleed out a little lower right now. And I'm not sure about the dollar index giving you that window. The best, clearest window of some duration after the 99 target is run. So where does the 99 target come? For some of you that'll put alerts. Some of you will listen. Some of you will take a pen and write it down. Some of you will even go to your dollar index chart and put a 99 on it. So for those people who want to know when they might get the window where they can be a little more aggressive, here's why, and that's your chart. Let's put it on the 3-day, get a bit more detail. This is your reversal. All called for you on Market Sniper, but you didn't subscribe because Forex is shit. You're only here for the crypto. No, you're here to build wealth in grand reset times and protect it. That's what we're about. Building wealth in reset times. Yes, I know some of you all want silos. I'm just interested in crypto. But that's the truth of the matter. That is a very strong run from an anti-fiat in FX markets that never move that amount of percent easily. But this was a very strong run, the bear run. And you have your left shoulder, your W head, and your right shoulder. This is a strong move. Where's that target? The purple number there, 99.798. You can go take that number and put an alert. I'm not going to do it for you. You've got to own your own outcomes. But you might get a window. Once you've run the funnel of the inverted, guess what? The target's taking you right back there. You should overperform it. You will take back that bear call. That is a clear sign that this has round tripped from a bear into a reversal and back. A, you make the target of an inverted head and shoulders. B, you clear the defining first inverted in a new trend that led to a major loss in value in the first place. Then you now become clear. You get a little bit of a rest, you pull back a little bit, and then you get ready for wave two, because this dollar is the biggest story of 2022 that you've not yet heard, that you'll come back and say, that guy gave it to me well before this became the huge meme. You're going to see memes about dollar beating up every other currency. You're going to see it on Newsweek, Time magazine, and everything. You're hearing it here first. You could have heard it a month ago and even earlier still. This is going to be, in our opinion, an upside continuation that will then potentially take you up to well into the hundreds. And we haven't finalized the pattern yet, so I can only guess. So you can't quote me on that. You've got to understand. Technical analysts quote or fact and real geometry. They don't throw out $1 million Bitcoin by the end of the year, $100,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year, just because they want to sound like a boss being bullish. But you would get anywhere around 110 to 112. Now that is absolutely positively huge. You don't see it because 96 to 112 is a very ordinary move on a crypto. But unfortunately, in terms of FX terms, that is huge. That is FX emergence failing. If you live in South Africa, Brazil, India, Australia, Canada, they'll be a little bit more protected because they've got oil and ore. But even still, if you're in the East, wherever you are, Japan even, a good economy as it is, the USD JPY is in an upside break. Anywhere else outside the dollar zone, Latin America, oh dear, let me just say, you are going to run into trouble when this index, or if this index does that. If it gets to 99, you will rest, you will pull back, you will go again. Very important. Okay guys, we've given you a long stream today, but we've tried to also introduce you to new learnings. You'll spit it out. You'll take it on board. You'll do whatever you want with it. It's totally free. It's for you. Be smart. I'm giving you an opportunity to get smarter. You have a great chair by being in the crypto universe. I've offered you a better chair. A little bit comfier. It's a lazy boy. It reclines. You can move off your bar stool. You can sit a little further back and you can have a wider view. And you can watch what's going on both sides. And now you've got a telescope with infrared glasses that sees into the dark. I'm Francis, the crypto sniper, the market sniper, and the reset sniper on the Odyssey channel that you can support decentralized, uncensored information where you hear everything I have to say and think. Go over there with a couple of library tokens. You're going to get your library tokens pumped. More people are going to, your bag's going to get pumped. I'm telling you now, you're going to be the better off for it because decentralized, uncensored news is going to become a rarity and the masses will storm for it. I'll catch you next time. Salute. I'm really upset. No one complimented me on my X-ray goggles. It's a tough life trying to impress you guys. We'll catch you later. Thanks for watching.